Now let us move with the concept of the graphical representation. What we have done it, हमें डेटा सेट मिला जो ऑर्डर्ड एरे के फॉर्म में हमने रख लिया. आफ्टर उसको समराइज और कॉम्पैक्ट फॉर्म में प्रेजेंटेबल बनाने के लिए हमने इसको कन्वर्ट करा फ्रीक्वेंसी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन टेबल में. फ्रीक्वेंसी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन टेबल में किस टाइप में कन्वर्ट होगा, या तो इंडिविजुअल या तो डिस्क्रीट, एंड देन मे बी द कंटिन्यूस. After doing that work, next comes how to represent it. We can represent it through graphical representation using different methods. So the pictorial representation of that frequency distribution which we have made, it's more appealing than its a tabulated counterpart. डेटा सेट जो रॉ था वो स्टेप 1 है. स्टेप 2 है फ्रीक्वेंसी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, जो टेबुलर फॉर्मेट है. टेबुलर फॉर्मेट से बेटर ऑप्शन होता है ग्राफिकल रिप्रेजेंटेशन, जिससे और इजीली वी कैन हैव अ ग्लिम्स ऑफ व्हाट एग्जैक्टली द डेटा इज ऑल अबाउट. So it represents the data in two-dimensional picture, and the horizontal axis, that is the x-axis, which is being used to represent the characteristic, and the vertical axis, that means the y-axis, it is used for frequency. Most of the graphical representation of this particular data set is of how many types? They are basically of 4 types. First, histogram. Second, frequency polygon. Third, frequency curve. And one more, which is called cumulative frequency curve. It is also called ogive curve. It is the name say OGIVE, but it is pronounced as ogive curve. What are all this? We will take one by one. Let's start with the first histogram. What is histogram? It is a series of rectangles with the bases which is equal to the width of the classes. Normally, it is drawn for the grouped data. What are the grouped data? We started just in the last section that group data are of the 2 types, discrete and class interval, that is continuous. For each group, one rectangle is constructed. If the class are of equal width, the height of the rectangle is erected from each width up to the height which goes up to the frequency. For unequal width classes, corresponding frequency densities are the heights of the rectangle. What we said, histogram क्या चीज है? It is series है किस चीज की? Rectangles. Let us I would show it like this. If this is an x-axis and this is an y-axis, what I'm going to do is this x-axis will represent my class intervals. This will represent the values, the marks, age, whatever the variable which we have taken under consideration, that would come on the x-axis. And their repetition, their observation, their frequency will come on the y-axis. Generally, what happen? We get the values of the continuous data into an equal width. Generally, हमको जो numerical मिलता है, हम class interval लेते हैं. That class interval are of equal length, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, like that. This is the way. In case, but if you haven't got the class interval of equal width, what you have to be done? Then the process is different. जो rectangles बनेंगे हमारी जो rectangles, will show it on the screen also. Like this rectangle की density उसमें role play करेगी. Otherwise, only the height is only the one parameter to be judged in the case when the data is considering the equal width. They are of like the example which is there in front of you. You can see what is given. Frequency distribution दे रखा है कितने का? 67 employees का. किस चीज का frequency distribution है? Monthly wages. Monthly wages 1000 में है. Values किस format में लिखी है? Is a grouped frequency distribution. It is class interval 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, and so on. You can see all the class interval they are of equal width. Yes. If I say if all of them are of equal width, there is no need to worry with the density. No concept of density comes here. What would happen? These bar height will only differ. This width are same. Need not to worry about the width now because all the class intervals they are of equal width. सबकी 30 से 40 10, 40 से 50 again 10, 50 से 60 again 10, all of them of width 10 units. So what are 10,000 wages का difference is सब class interval में. So we need not to take care of the x-axis width. So all of them are equal. Only the parameter which has to be taken care is the height. What the height of the each bar will, it will be corresponding to their frequency. See, this is the way the histogram will be created. You can see the first class interval, it stands, the frequency was 2. So obviously the height of the first bar, the height of the first pillar, which is from 10 to 20, will go up to the height 2. Second class interval, the height will go up to 5, third will go to the 8, and this is according to the frequency which is written in the numerical given in front of you. This is the histogram being created. You can see one very important factor about this histogram is all of these bars, they are all these rectangles, they are of equal width. Need not that no space is there between these rectangles. All of them are adjacent to each other. No space comes between them, and all of them are of equal width. So we have to take care of the histogram. These two important points, that the width of the rectangle has to be same. Second, they are adjacent to each other. Third, one more important point, that the frequency will decide the length of these rectangle, or I would say the height of this bar. So this is a histogram created on the numerical given to you. The histogram, it corresponds to the above frequency distribution of the monthly wages. It is, as you've seen, was there in the figure. These rectangular bars are constructed for successive class interval with their bases on the x-axis, the base being equal in width, and the height on the y-axis, which is equal to the corresponding class frequency. This is the way you will going to represent, if you will going to write down and explain the histogram, how to create histogram in your own language. Now, the procedure of the drawing this particular histogram is same as we discussed. Make sure the class intervals are of equal. But now let us consider the case when the class interval are not equal. So we have an unequal class interval. So the procedure is slightly different. In such cases where the class interval are different, the frequency densities are plotted on the y-axis. What do you mean by frequency density? We'll discuss now. A histogram that uses relative frequency as the height of the rectangle is known as relative frequency histogram, which we done it earlier, and which also has the same shape as an absolute frequency then it is called absolute frequency histogram. In case of the open-ended distribution, a histogram can be drawn by dropping the open-ended class. This is a third case. Now comes to the next concept, which is frequency polygon or frequency curve. Both of them are based on the same concept with only a slight difference. When we will be using the scale or a straight line, we will call it polygon. And if we will be using a freehand, we don't use a straight line, we don't use a scale, and we use a freehand, a curve will be formed. Concept is same in both the case. You call it frequency polygon or a frequency curve. How to create it, it is almost the same procedure. What to do is, the frequency polygon, if you define it, it is a line graph of class frequencies which are plotted against the class marks or the mid values. How it can be obtained? It can be obtained by connecting the midpoints of the top of the rectangles in the histogram. How to create histogram, we just checked it up in the last section. Now we will be creating the histogram. Once the histogram is created, the midpoint of the histograms will be joined together to make a frequency polygon or a curve. The frequency polygon corresponds to the frequency distribution as it was there in the table. Now let us see this frequency polygon curve in their screen. The data which we have used is the last table, and the last table data will be used to create the histogram first. How to create histogram? That the rectangles. What we're going to do is, we will touch the horizontal axis from both the sides of the curve. That is, let me show it. Let's see. This is an x-axis. Fine. This is a y-axis. What we did it in the histogram, we have created the rectangles. 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, and 50 to 60, and so on. So let's say, and these y-axis represent their frequency. Now, if 10 to 20 was up to a particular frequency, the height would be corresponding to this frequency. Similarly, 20 to 30, height will be according to the frequency given in the front of it. This is the way the histogram was created. Next step is to find out the midpoint. Obviously, 10 to 20, the midpoint is 15. So here is the midpoint. Similarly, 20 to 25, 30, 25 is the midpoint. It will cross here. So you create the midpoints of the histograms. You create the midpoints of the histogram like this. And then you join this midpoints. If you use a scale, if you use a straight line to join this midpoints, it becomes your frequency polygon. But if you don't use a scale, if you don't make a straight line, if you use freehand and then join this points, and then it becomes your curve. Simple, a very slight difference between these two words. One important point in both the polygon and curve, we have to take care that this last midpoint has to be joined to the x-axis in both starting and the end. But where to join? Center of the next interval. 60 to 70 is the next interval. So center is 65. Here the interval is 0 to 10. Center is 5. So you go and join this here to the center point and has to be stretched and joined to the center. So in this way, if we close the starting, if we close the end and we make them touch the x-axis, this complete structure which you can see becomes your polygon with a straight line. Freehand becomes a curve. So frequency polygon and frequency curve, they can be created by using first the histogram, create a histogram, join the midpoints, and see it can be created so easily. Now let us start the very important concept which is called the cumulative frequency curve. It's also known as ogive. Same concept will be applied here also. If you'll be using a straight line, we will call it ogive polygon or cumulative frequency polygon. If you're going to use a freehand, then it will be called ogive curve or cumulative frequency curve. So make sure that the curve and polygon concept remains in your mind. Now let us start. What is it? If the values which are given to you in the form of a grouped or ungrouped data, let us talk about it. Generally, it will be more focused on the group data. What happens when the question comes like how many observations are there less than a particular value? How many observations were there more than a particular value? These types of cases can be easily dealt if you go to straightway to the cumulative frequency polygon. What is it? It is a graphical representation of the cumulative frequency distribution, and it is also, therefore, the reason it is also known as cumulative frequency polygon. It is based on the data as it is given in the table which is shown here. More than the ogive is plotted by taking the more cumulative frequencies. We take it on the y-axis, y coordinate. And the limit, lower limit of the class interval is taken on the x coordinate. What is it? You see the table which is there in front of you. What is the values given? Wages दे रखी है, class interval दिया हुआ है 30 से 40, 40 से 50, 50 से 60. These class intervals, and in front of them it is written number of employees. What has to be done? Two ways we can perform the exercise. One is less than ogive curve, we call it. Other is called more than ogive curve or a cumulative frequency. First step is, what you have to do is you need to find out cumulative frequency. What does the cumulative frequency means? The frequency which are written in front of you in this table, simply add this frequency like 2, then you add 2 plus 5. Third step, you add 2 plus 5 plus 8. Then you add 2 plus 5 plus 8 plus 12, becomes 27. Then add 18, becomes 45. Add 15, it becomes 60. Add 4, becomes 64. And the last, you add 3, you become 67. This is the way of finding the cumulative frequency, where when the case is less than, it has to be in double quotes. Look at here. Let me make you understand again this concept when we are talking about less than. What does it, the less than? You can call it less than ogive polygon or curve, whatever comes You can handle it accordingly. As I said, when you try to do this, whatever the frequency is given to you, you have to find out their cumulative frequency, considering like 2, 5, repeating again the same concept so that it should be clear in the mind how it has to be done. Look here like this. So when you're working on less than, first step to take care is you have to consider the upper limit of the class interval. What does it mean? Upper limit of the class interval means when we are talking about the first class interval in front of your screen is 30 to 40, right? The 40 is the upper limit. So you need to write down less than 40. So it has to be like here, less than 40. Upper limit of the first class interval. Similarly, the upper limit of the second class interval is 50. So I'm going to write down 50. The upper limit of the third class interval is 60. So I'm going to write down 60 like this. So let us complete this table. We are writing the upper limit of the each class interval. So it will come like this. And it will end up to 110. What the CF would be? What is it? CF is cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency for less than 40. It will be we will going to read it like this. Less than 40, less than 50, less than 60. It will be read like this. So in front of it, you have to write down the cumulative frequency. So write this 2 as it is. Then you add these 2 values right here. Add these 3 values right here. Add all these 4 values. Then you have to write down here. You do this exercise, you complete this. What I'm doing is I'm adding this. I'm just writing 2 as it is. Then I'm writing these 2 values. Then I'm adding addition of these 3 values, addition of 4, addition of 5 values, and so on. Let me complete this table. So you will be getting the same values. If you do it by your own, it will become like this. This is called cumulative frequency. Basically, the logic behind the cumulative frequency is simple. How many students got less than 40? So you can say 2. How many students got less than 50? So obviously 40 to 50, if there are 5 students, and from 30 to 40, there are 2 students. Both of them will stand up. If I will ask, stand up all those who have got marks less than 50. These 5 students will stand up. Along with these 2 also says, because it satisfies the equation less than 50. This is the reason that this cumulative frequency work is done. Once you have done this step, you have to plot it on the graph. You take the values less than 40, 50, 60 on the x coordinate. You take the CF values on the y coordinate. And then you plot it. See on the screen, it is, if you just focus on what? You focus on the solid line. The solid line, the curve, the solid polygon is representing the less than ogive curve. What happens with the dotted polygon, dotted curve? It is case of more than ogive polygon or curve. How to create the table for it? Simply again, what you do is, here you have to take in consideration one important point. It is more than. When I say more than, you have to take care for the left. If it was like the class interval was 30 to 40, then you have to take care of the lower end. So make sure that you write it down, the lower limit of each interval. More than 30, more than 40, more than 50, more than 60, and you go on like this. Very slight difference that will matter a lot. So more than 100, more than 110. We will not be needing 110 because there is no one more than 110. Still I have written down. Step 1, make sure when you're going to create this table for less than or more than. Very important step to remember is, for the less than ogive polygon, you have to concentrate on the higher end of the class interval, and you have to write down these values here. When you're creating the more than ogive polygon or curve, you have to concentrate on the lower end of the class interval and write down all those values like this. So this will not be needed here. यहाँ पे 30 की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी थी, इतना डिफरेंस. अब more than में क्या करना है? More than में just reverse of it. You start up with 67. See, look here. You can do it like this. Total of this frequency is 67. You can do it this exercise on your calculator. You start with this 67 first. You write it over here. So this becomes your CF. This becomes your cumulative frequency. It becomes this value 67. So and logically, even if you think, if someone asks you how many students got more than 30, you see 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, and it is there in front of you. All the students 67, they are above 30. So all of them will come. Obviously, logically आप देखोगे तो 30 से ज्यादा सारे students हैं, तो all of them are appeared in 67. So 67 will come over here. So we have written down. We have written down the total number of students 67 in front of more than 30, because all of the students which we have noted down सबके 30 से ज्यादा हैं, तभी तो 30 से 40, 40 से 50 हमने क्लास इंटरवल्स नोट किए थे. सारे स्टूडेंट्स का 67, पूरे सारे स्टूडेंट्स के मार्क्स 30 से ज्यादा हैं, राइट? सो वी विल राइट इट डाउन लाइक दिस. टू वेज ऑफ डूइंग दिस एक्सरसाइज. या तो आप लॉजिकली काम करें, या फिर the way I am going to make you understand, you can follow that. First, let us understand the logic. 30 से ज्यादा अगर 67 स्टूडेंट्स आए तो ये नेक्स्ट कैटेगरी मोर देन 40 में क्या होगा? मोर देन 40 में ये दो स्टूडेंट्स बैठ जाएंगे. 67 students all are standing because all of them got marks more than 30. Now I said remain standing all those marks, all those students who got marks more than 40. तो क्या होगा? 30 से 40 वाले ये दो स्टूडेंट्स बैठ जाएंगे. तो 67 में से जब दो स्टूडेंट्स बैठ गए तो कितने स्टूडेंट्स खड़े हैं? 67 minus 2. Yes, it's become 65. Now I will ask, keep standing students who got marks more than 50. More than 50. तो ये 40 से 50 वाले स्टूडेंट्स भी बैठ जाएंगे. तो इसमें से 5 स्टूडेंट्स बैठ गए, राइट? मोर देन 60, तो अब ये स्टूडेंट्स बैठ गए. 60 minus 8, 52 remain standing now. Then I said, okay, only students who got marks more than 70 will remain standing. तो 60 से 70 वाले जो टारगेट था, 60 से 70 में जो 12 स्टूडेंट्स है वो लोग भी सिट. तो 52 में से 12 बच्चे और बैठ गए. 40 remain standing. Logically, it will go like that. You can connect it with the logic. Otherwise, don't make a mistake. Always start with this total value 67 and then start subtracting the value frequency written in front of 67. 67 minus 2 gives you 65. 65 minus 5 gives you 60. 60 minus 8 gives you 52. 52 minus 12 gives you 40. 40 minus 18, it will give you value 22. 22, and focus on the number and the frequency written in front of it. So 67 to make sure that you don't make mistakes when you're doing this exercise, because the 40 के सामने जो frequency आएगा वो subtract होगा. 22 के सामने जो frequency आएगा वो subtract होगा. You get 7. 7 subtracted by gives you 3. You will end up to the 3. 110 के ऊपर कोई नहीं है. क्यों? क्योंकि क्लास इंटरवल क्या था? 100 से 110 था. 100. अब when you are talking more than 110, तो उसके obviously इसके सामने 0 आएगा. You just align it. Alignment is like this. Make sure that you make the alignment in front of it. Like this. So more than 110, you don't have anyone. When I say, okay, students who remain standing who got more than 110, जब 110 से 120 का लॉट ही नहीं है तो सारे के सारे बच्चे बैठ जाएंगे. No one is standing. So in front of 110, no more students remain standing. तो थोड़ा या तो कॉन्सेप्ट या तो फिर सिस्टम को फॉलो करेंगे. What has to do? Simply now, you plot this values of CF on the graph. Take the cumulative frequency. Take the more than values. More than 30, 40, 50, these marks will come on the x coordinate. This cumulative frequency will come on the y coordinate, as you can see in the screen. Now, these two curves, less than and more than. Less than the solid curve, you could see that it is the points are joined with a straight line using the scale. So we'll call it now a polygon. So the solid one is less than cumulative polygon, or you can call it less than OG polygon. And the dotted one is more than OG polygon or a cumulative polygon. So you can plot it, and when the very important point to take care is, now I can make sure I can give the answer to the questions like, let us answer first question. How many students got marks more than 35? अर्लियर इफ ये ग्राफ नहीं बनाते आप और सिर्फ टेबल देखते तो मोर देन 35 इज नॉट इजी टू आंसर. मोर देन 30 आई कैन से मोर देन 30 67. मोर देन 40 आई कैन आंसर मोर देन 40 65. तो आई कैन आंसर टू द टू क्वेश्चंस. 30 से ज्यादा कितने बच्चों को मिले? 67. 40 से ज्यादा कितने बच्चों को मिले? 65. बट इज बिटवीन इस न्यूमेरिक इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर नहीं दे सकते यूजिंग दिस टेबुलर फॉर्म, बट नाउ यूजिंग दिस ग्राफ आई कैन गिव यू द आंसर. वेयर हम क्या करेंगे, एक्स एक्सिस पे जो 30 से 40 है वहां पे 35 को मार्क करिए एंड चेक इट अप वेयर इट कट्स द एक्सिस, वेयर इट कट्स द ग्राफ. जो मोर देन ग्राफ को जहां वो कट करेगा, दैट वैल्यू विल गिव यू द आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन. These types of questions can be answered using this particular cumulative polygon curves or polygon or curves. So this is the application, most important application of this particular graphical representation. And this is not only used for this types of answering this type of questions, but it gives you the steepness gives you one more information. If more steep is the steepness of these curves are, more drastic difference, more change is there in the observations, I would say. The flatter the curves are, both either the more than or less than, the flatter they are, the SD's deviation is very high. So you can read it in this curve like that, this also.